Hi, welcome to Lord of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll be examining the initial 4 episodes of the series Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. Before we start, become a subscriber now and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode from us. This story begins with a timeless mythological tale. A child becomes an orphan, following the vanquishing of an evil lord by the hands of an epic hero. Cast ashore onto a mystical island, the infant, Dai, is discovered by a cadre of monsters who endeavor to instruct him in the ways of magic. Despite grappling with the acquisition of spells, Dai becomes captivated by the myth of the hero. Consequently, he adopts the moniker Dai, the tiny hero. Dai tells the tale of a hero who defeated the Dark Lord, and in doing so freed the monsters from his evil will. The monsters then came to live on Dumbline Island and were forever grateful to the hero. This is the tale that inspires Dai. We meet Grandpa Brass, who raised Dai. Brass has since begun to discourage Dai from becoming a hero despite his obvious difficulties with spellcasting. We find out that Brass wants to train Dai in magic so that he can one day help a hero. Dai is contemplating his dream to become a hero with his monster friend Gome when Dai spots a ship nearing the island. On the boat is a hero, but why is this stranger approaching the island? Eager to encounter a genuine hero, Dai hastily makes his way toward the oncoming boat atop a merman. However, he soon discovers the wisdom behind the adage, never meet your heroes, as it becomes apparent that the purported hero is, in reality, a charlatan seeking effortless opportunities for profit. The so-called hero and his comrades are on a quest for a rare monster, the golden metal slime. Dai intercepts the boat, naively excited to meet a real hero. The hero's trick. Dai into assembling all of the monsters on the island, and we find out that the golden metal slime is actually Gome-chan, Dai's monster friend. This asks the question, what do the fraudulent heroes want with Gome-chan? Grandpa Brass senses the fake hero's evil, and Dai returns to a violent bloodbath. Dai and the monsters are attacked by the heroes, and they escape the island after kidnapping Gome-chan. Dai, a true hero, resolves to rescue his friend who he basically gave up to the enemy. Grandpa Brass decides to help Dai in his quest, and gives him some tools to help him in his fight. Wrapped up in a bag are magic cylinders, which can trap any living soul inside, and golden cylinders, given to Brass by the Dark Lord. What the gold cylinders do is uncertain, though we are certain to find out. Dai summons the monsters of Derman Island and gathers up a team who will rescue Gome-chan. The fake hero, Dereline, presents Gome-chan to his king. In return, he is granted the official title of hero. Just as this happens, Dai arrives on the back of a flying monster. He releases his team of monsters onto the ship. They begin to fight, and the monsters have the initial advantage. Dai takes on Dereline head-to-head, and we begin to see certain similarities between the two. Is there more of a connection here than we first thought? The tides of battle begin to wane in the favor of the fake heroes, who begin to topple the monsters. In a cutthroat moment, Dai is held at Dereline's sword's tip. Grandpa reminds the tiny hero of the golden cylinders in an extremely tense moment. What do these cylinders do? And what are the risks? Dai finally releases the golden cylinder, and what we see next shocks us. A few small slimes jump out, seemingly adding nothing to the battle. In response, Dai releases another cylinder. A giant dragon is released and begins to sink the boat that they're fighting on. Once again, the monsters snatch control of the fight thanks to the giant mythic beast. After winning the fight, Dai collects the fake hero into a golden cylinder, though we're sure that's not the last we see of Dereline and his crew. The King of Romos then reveals himself and acknowledges his mistake in trusting Dereline. He asks Brass for forgiveness and awards Dai with the legendary Crown of Champions, bestowing upon him the responsibility of being a future hero. Just as we think the island of Dermine is set for peace, another strange ship approaches the island. This time, it's a sacred ship, according to Brass. But who could be on board? As additional strangers disembark from the ship, the Bishop Temjin of the Papnica Kingdom introduces a sage named Varan. The question arises, who are these two individuals, and what is their purpose in relation to the island of Dermine and its prospective hero, Dai? Then, a girl descends from the ship and Dai is immediately infatuated with her. That is, until she calls him tiny and undependable. We find out that she is Princess Leona, the heir to the Papnica Kingdom, who has been sent to commence an age-old ritual for the Earth God. The future hero Dai and Venerable Brass are now famous within the Papnica Kingdom after earning the respect of the king, and so they are tasked with abating the monsters who defend the Earth Cave. Tension brews between Dai and Princess Leona, who seem to butt heads at every opportunity. Reluctantly, Dai leads the expedition to the Earth Cave, which is said to be highly dangerous. Extending an olive branch, the The princess gives Dai the knife of the Papnica royal family. But the moment turns sour as a stranger attacks the group with a monster concealed in a magic cylinder. Ambushed, the princess is shocked to find that her magic is ineffective against the monster. After she is hurt, Dai gets to use his new Papnica heirloom knife and defeats the monster in an epic fight. But is it too late to save the princess? After being slashed by the monster's claws, she is badly hurt by the evil scorpion's poison, which is near impossible to cure without magic. Dai sends Gome to fetch Grandpa, who can cure Leona with the spell, but then Varon the Sage reappears. Dai notices something strange in his hand, a magical cylinder, and that's when we realize he's the one who released the evil scorpion. Varon casts a dangerous spell, from which Dai escapes into the Earth Cave whilst carrying the Princess Leona. They are both knocked out from the explosion. Simultaneously, Gome reaches Grandpa and tells him about the poison. As he's rushing off to cast the antidote spell, he is blocked by the bishop's men. Bishop Temjin of Papnica then reveals his grand scheme to have Princess Leona killed so that he can become the new heir to the kingdom, whilst also framing the monsters of Dermine Island as responsible for her death. Enraged by deception and treachery, we see the true anger of Grandpa Brass. Using his fire spell, he attacks the guards and bishop before sending Gome to summon the rest of the monsters. Dai whacks up with the Princess Leona on top of him. They are deep in the Earth Cave, trapped by dead ends and surrounded by bubbling lava. The stakes are high for Dai, who is responsible for the Princess Leona at the same time as his island's fate being at risk. Varon sneaks up on the congregation of monsters and unleashes another magical capsule. This time inside is the killing machine, a synthetic monster designed by the evil Dark Lord to kill the hero. Varon is inside, controlling the monster using his human will. The sage's power is near unparalleled. The best efforts from Brass's magic and the monsters don't even scratch the machine. Again, like the evil scorpion, magic is useless. Dai is the only one strong enough to stand up to the machine, but he's trapped far underground with the poisoned princess, whose strength weakens with each passing second. Feeling like a failure, Dai is still incapable of casting spells. Leona teeters on the border of death and encourages Dai with her last words. It's at this point that Dai's true heroism becomes apparent, and, with tears streaming down his face, he resolves not to let her die. It's with this passion and determination that he uses his magic to burst out of the Earth Cave, and a massive shockwave shakes the island. Dai runs with Leona to Grandpa Brass, but is intercepted by the killing machine. Varon aims a bolt at Brass, but a great energy surrounds Dai, and he uses a powerful spell to attack the killing machine. As shown before, the killing machine is invulnerable to magic. Dai steps up again, wielding the knife the princess gave him. An epic battle ensues as the tiny hero takes on a giant mecha monster. Dai attacks this with a combination of physical and magical attacks to overwhelm the evil sage. Now, after the machine's armor has been exposed by physical attacks, Dai's magical sizzle spell defeats Varon. Grandpa Brass heals the princess, who exposes the evil bishop and Saga. Peace is restored and the princess is able to fulfill the ritual she was sent to complete. Thanks to Dai's newfound magical power and strength, evil has been defeated once more. Not only that, but a powerful relationship is forged between Dai and the princess, whose friendship has blessed Dai with new powers. Mystery surrounds Dai, who seems to possess much more power than you could ever have expected. What is the magical blue energy surrounding Dai when he casts spells? And more importantly, where does it come from? The second episode ends with Dermline Island in chaos as the monsters attack each other, and a mysterious figure resolves to meet the new hero. The third episode ramps up the stakes. Dermline Island is surrounded by dark clouds and swirling fog. The mysterious figure heads towards the island on his boat. Dai is struggling with the monsters who seem to have all turned on each other. Even Grandpa is struggling and worries about turning berserk. He thinks that it must spell the return of the Dark Lord. Grandpa tells Dai to leave the island or else he might be killed by the monsters, or worse, by Grandpa himself. Just as he is about to leave, Dai is chased by all of the monsters whose red eyes emphasize their berserk nature. Just then, the strange figure appears and runs at them, engaging in a strange sprint attack across the island. He casts a powerful spell, Glimmer, that expels the dark influence from the monsters. He introduces himself as Avan, a hero tutor. By his side is Pop, who is training to become a mage. We find out that Avan was sent to Dermline by the royal family to train Dai, because the threat of the Dark Lord is rising, and Papnica and Romos are in grave danger. They need a true hero to save them, and his name is Dai. Scouts for the Dark Lord arrive, and Pop is given the opportunity to defeat them. Unexpectedly, we see his incredible power defeat one of the gargoyles instantly. Despite this, one of the gargoyles casts a magic impairment spell, and Pop is then vulnerable to attack. That is, until Dai steps in and fights the gargoyle himself. Dai uses Avan's legendary sword to fight the gargoyle, and defeats him with a single slice. Only after the fight do we find out the sword is just a regular sword bought in a second-hand store. Avan realizes Dai's true power and potential after this. Dai engages in a week-long hero training course under Avan's supervision, with the intentions of saving the princess from the Dark Lord after. Avan's training style is strange, to say the least. Slicing boulders with swords and doing meditative headstands begins to tire Dai out. The lack of synergy with his magical abilities disappoints Avan, though we already know that Dai's magic is at its best when he is pushed to the emotional brink. Irrespective of his magic abilities, Avan is thoroughly impressed with Dai's swordplay and physical abilities. In sparring, he even forces Avan to have to defend himself at the last second, displaying his combat abilities at their full potential. Avan shows Dai his special attack, Avan Strash, which throws Dai far in the air, and Puff, which turns Avan into a spectacle-donning dragon, spelling the end of the episode. The fourth episode begins with the ominous storm still brewing around Dermline Island. A strange figure levitates over the ocean with purple energy swirling around him. He gazes menacingly at the island. Meanwhile, Dai is still training with Avan transformed into a dragon. Avan exclaims that only a true hero can defeat a dragon, at which point Grandpa Brass tries to intervene. Though, Dai's determination is too strong, and he continues on with the fight. At this moment, Gomi finds Pop and tells him about what has happened. Pop's reaction reflects the danger of the situation as he sprints over to intervene. A flashback is initiated, and Dai remembers that the dragon's attack can be stopped with Wave Slash, which can cut through fire, water, and air. He uses the freshly learned move to cut through the dragon flames, and it works to the surprise of the others. He even cuts Avan's nose slightly, who transforms back into his human state following the attack. The result of this battle shows Dai's quick thinking and determination to protect his friends. After all, he is doing this to save the princess from the Dark Lord. As the group of friends make jokes about Pop training to compete with Dai, a tremor shakes the island. Someone is trying to breach the magic protection spell around the island, and Avan thinks that only one person could be strong enough to break through. Dai can feel their evil energy, and Grandpa Brass fears that he will turn berserk. Descending from the sky, the resurrected Dark Lord Hadlar approaches surrounded by fizzing electricity and sparks. Brass notes that he is full of vitality, looking more powerful and younger than ever before. The Dark Lord Hadlar then reveals a vital piece of information, and we find out something that we've long been desperate to find out. He reveals the identity of the hero, Avan. Avan is the hero who saved the world from the Dark Lord the first time, and now he faces him once again. It is apparent there is a heated rivalry between Avan and Hadlar, and this results in a fiery battle. It seems, though, that Hadlar has grown exponentially more powerful whilst Avan's powers have waned slightly. Hadlar performs a powerful sizzle spell which Avan deflects, though what happens after that is much more devastating. He reveals he was resurrected by an even more powerful dark figure, Vern, the Dark King, known as the God of the Underworld. After Hadlar died, he spent years in hibernation, after being resurrected by Vern. Upon swearing fealty to the Dark King, Hadlar was granted dominion over the Dark Army. Hadlar tempts Avan with an offer of partnership. If Avan joins him, he will have control over half of the world. Naturally, in the spirit of the hero, Avan declines. The hero taunts Hadlar, and they both prepare to use their most powerful attacks against each other. For a moment it seems like a draw, until Hadlar's wounds begin to heal. His resurrected powers are far too much for Avan, whose energy was all spent in training with Dai. Instinctively, Dai tries to intervene, but his attacks prove futile against the formidable Hadlar. The tiny hero finds himself being tossed around by Hadlar's strength, prompting Pop to rush to his rescue. Recognizing their insignificance, Hadlar allows them to escape. Hadlar then notices something. His hand is bleeding. Enraged, and perhaps a little bit scared, he changed his mind. He resolves to kill them all. He throws an extremely powerful spell at Pop and Dai, which Avan intercepts with his body. The episode ends with suspense and uncertainty, and the biggest question is whether Avan manages to survive the attack from Hadlar.